Well, hello, hello. Is there anybody out here watching? I'm really going to have to cut that off. So, I'm going to let a few seconds to let people maybe start filing in here. But essentially, today I'm hoping to kind of go over maybe some of the cameras that are going to be coming out in 2022, if we're hype about them, if we're not so hype about them, and if we think they're going to actually live up to that hype. So that's kind of like the guidelines, but overall, we'll probably just hang out, chat, enjoy the new year. Happy New Year, everyone. So let's see. Anybody starts to fall in here. There was people in the chat early, like 12 o'clock. And I'm like, we're starting at 12:15. I mean, last night it was a party. Let's see if things are working here. Well, is it working? Here we go. Not seeing the chat. Where's the chat at? Oh, there we are. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're talking about Tony Northrup. I just saw that video or part of the video earlier today. He was saying that they killed it and it was a mistake. And I was like, well, where's he going to go with this one? But I personally did not know what's going on. Maximum's here. Maxim? Not Maximum. Terrible reader. That's why I don't do live events. I'm like all subconscious about my hair. I was trying to set up. Oh, I'm clipping. How's my audio? How's everything going? Sound good? Hello. Still clipping. I'm checking myself. Leo, what's up, man? Am I clipping? Can everybody hear my audio good? Is it clear? Is it terrible? Let me know. What's up? What's up? I actually got a few people here today. This is pretty cool. Long Rider says, gives me the thumb up, and he's my spirit animal guide. He's a wise sage, so I just figure whatever Long Rider says, it's pretty much correct, and I don't have to worry about anything else. He was saying last time he was here, he shoots, I think it was 300 shots a day. So, I mean, he's probably better than pretty much everybody here at photography. If only, he shot some Canon every so often. uh, say that as I have Canon and Sony. That's funny. I amused myself. So, did anybody else get the kind of what I was talking about as far as the topics? This is the long. This is the long rider pose. uh, so I have a list. I don't know how many of people have seen. Happy New Year! Happy New Year to everyone who's here. So I had a couple videos that came out. There wasn't much camera news, so I was doing like top 5 this, top 5 that. So I had a couple videos like top 5 Canon cameras that I think are most likely to come, and as well as top 5 Sony cameras that I think are likely to come. And then later I did my top 5 most anticipated cameras. So my thought process was we'll go over some of those top 5 here live, and y'all can kind of give me your input on whether or not you actually think that these cameras will even come and what you think about these cameras. Does that sound pretty legit? Pentax guy. Pentax. Um, yeah, so Nikon I did not do. Long Rider just said Baseman, a Nikon guy, Amar, a Canon guy, and Max, a Paxiton. So Pentaxiton. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool name. I didn't know that that was actually the name of people who were extinct. um, so as far as that kind of late. I didn't actually go over Nikon, like a top 5 for Nikon. I figure maybe some of you guys can put that in the chat. What do you think the top 5 are going to be for Nikon? I just personally don't know enough about what cameras should be coming out from Nikon in the 2022 space. I heard something about a D8, but like I said, I don't really know enough to say, oh, this camera should be coming or shouldn't be coming. So I know the Z9 maybe is coming in October, which sucks. Anybody still here in the chat? Can y'all hear me good? Y'all all here? Okay, so with my top 5 from Sony, I had the 5 most likely cameras coming out as the Max is okay. So Long Rider just said Max is a very experienced photographer and used to develop film for famous people. Well, Max, you got a shout out from Long Rider, so maybe you're pretty awesome too. Apparently, everybody's just more experienced than me. I'm just over here like, hey guys, let me tell you the news. So Max, who are some of the people that you worked with? I'm trying to manage like what is our what is the delay in time and everything. Okay, so I'm gonna go over these Sony top 5, and y'all can kind of continue to chat, and then y'all can drop in y'all's opinions. So my top 5 for Sony that I think are the most likely to come out. Number 5, like, so it goes from least likely to most likely, but all of these are kind of likely. Number 5 was the Sony A9 III. Number 4 was the A7R5. Wait, no, this is my most anticipated cameras. I'm messing up. Okay, so yeah, we'll do this. My top 5 most anticipated cameras were the Sony A9 III, the Sony A7R5, and then the Canon EOS R5C, the Fujifilm X-H2, and the Canon EOS R1. So those were, wow, long time ago. So he's saying John Section and Robert Adams, a long time ago. That's some of the famous people that he worked with. That's legit, man. Well, I'm gonna have to meet some famous people, and then I can work with them, or maybe get talented. So out of that list of my top 5, is there anything on this list that is like? Is there anything on this list that is more exciting to you guys, or do you think all these cameras will actually even make it make it out this year in 2022? What are you guys feeling? So out of the Sony A9 III, the Sony A7R5, the Canon EOS R5C, and the Fujifilm X-H2 and the R1, do y'all foresee that all of these cameras are going to be coming out in 2022, or do you think maybe not so much? I'll have to wait for there's always a delay. It's like an awkward thing, so I have to like keep talking so that the silence doesn't scare me. Anybody writing their top 5 here to see their top 5 most exciting cameras? Going to be a bad year, very limited, production. Yeah. So Long Rider's talking about how the year is going to be very bad production as far as like just production. I was thinking, is it production? But I was reading it live, so I was like, yeah, he's probably right. It's productions. It's just going to have like a lot of chip supply issues. It's kind of interesting to me that Canon Rumors is still saying that this is going to be the year of the body. I mean, I wonder, like, they might say that these bodies are coming out, but how much of a limited supply are they really going to have of these bodies? Yeah. Long Rider's saying it will maybe improve, have an improvement in the fourth quarter. Hello, hello. What's going on? Happy New Year to you as well. think the R1 won't come until 2023. That's Leo. Breaking news, guys. Leo just confirmed that the R1's not coming in 2022. Everybody blame Leo, not Canon or supply issues. It was Leo's fault. Z9 already unavailable till, yeah, October. That sucks. Yeah. Amar said, I want a tall, slender body. Well, yeah, me too. welcome to 2022 resolutions. Oh, you mean camera body? Okay, that's different. Uh, yeah. So, yeah, I heard that about the Z9, but I don't know how confirmed that was. I think that was basically just one camera company saying that, or one, I think it was Adorama, or what was it, that actually posted out and said expected availability October of 2022. I don't know if that's like 100% like factual, if that makes sense. Like I'm not saying there's not going to be a supply issue. Obviously there is, but I don't think October 2022. I think they're going to have like little bitty, ship out like, 10 units here, 50 units here, every so often sporadically. And then October is maybe when it will be more widely available. At least that's how I'm interpreting things. Long Rider said it may be a blessing. Oh, John. So we got our Canon guy and the Sony guy in the room at the same time. He said, "Hi Matt, I can't attend. Wife and daughter sent me on a honeydew errand. Happy New Year." Well, thank you, John, at least for showing up and saying Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you and yours as well. Okay, so Long Rider said maybe a blessed year with for people to get good with what they have instead of lusting over new gear. Well, if people didn't lust over new gear, I wouldn't really have a channel, Long Riders. So I need new gear to come out. So as far as the R1, like Leo was saying, not coming in until 2023, I can agree that it may not come out to the masses in 2023, but I think they're going to do kind of like they did with the R3 and the Z9. I think they'll have at least like a prototype version that makes it to the World Cup. Does that make sense to everybody? Do y'all agree or no? Yeah. Well, I think every company always kind of has like a blueprint of the cameras coming out. So Leo is saying you'll have to do baby pics. LOL. Is he talking to Long Run? Are you talking to me? I actually do have some baby pics. Let me see if I can share my screen here. You have to forgive me. This is like my second time going live. Here's one. Here's my screensaver baby pic. He was just playing in the floor. This was no like setup or anything, but I like it. I like it, but it is my baby, so what can I say? I like the colors of the Finding Nemo blanket. uh, yes, beautiful. Thank you, Long Rider. Thank you. Appreciate it. So yeah, Leo is saying Sony is already working on the A1 Mark II. I mean, I think that they have it kind of like I guess, a general idea of what they want to put into the A9 or A1 to Mark II, but I don't know if they have any kind of really pre-production unit of the A1 Mark II. I think that every camera company kind of has to have a blueprint of where they expect things to go, but I think it's going to be a while before that starts to get finalized. But are you thinking that they're already pretty much? Or you think they're going to rush out the A1 Mark II, or is that kind of your thought process, thinking that they're going to kind of rush it out to, I guess, surpass whatever the A1 or R1 may or may not be? So I got this um, the new Mac over here, and I still have most of my pictures on like an external hard drive. That's why I can't like show a lot of pictures. This was my background setup, so that's why I have it on here. I was trying to set up and use my Sony a7S III as my actual webcam, and I was having some issues with that. So I'm going to have to like go watch a YouTube video about it or something. I was trying to do it for like 30 minutes before I got here because I'm a procrastinator. um, okay, so Long Rider just said the Sony A1 Mark II or Sony A1 II has that new sensor tech. It should be interesting. Oh yeah, very interesting. So if you don't know what Long Rider is talking about, the new tech that came out from Sony is basically like it's a stacked sensor, but I think they said it had 3 different layers, and it essentially allows you to double the signal saturation. So it's doubling the amount of light that is able to get to the sensor by breaking up the different layers. And I guess they're putting all the light on one layer and all like coloration on another. I'm not exactly sure how it works out. I'm not an engineer on this, but they said essentially it will be a stacked sensor that allows you to double the saturation signal levels, so almost double the light levels. So that will be very interesting, because if you just extrapolate and say that the A1 will have 50 megapixels again, a lot of times when you get up to a higher megapixel range, you start to kind of lose some of the low light capabilities at the higher end, because when you squeeze so many pixels into a small space, then you start to kind of, I don't know, just lose the amount of light that can get to the sensor apparently. And that should kind of solve a lot of the issues. So I guess theoretically speaking, you could get, you know, the same amount of light as you would with normally having 25 megapixels or 24 megapixels, whatever you want to call it. So Long Rider saying one problem with the high megapixel cameras is the noise at higher ISO. That tech could improve this situation. So yeah, basically what I was saying is that the high noise of the Sony A1, or not noise of the A1 necessarily, but of all cameras when they get at high megapixels, start to kind of break down at the light at higher ISOs. So that would basically theoretically be the case. Whether or not it's going to be a 1-to-1, I don't know, but it will be interesting to see when that tech actually comes out. So I believe it was in 2014. I had it in one of my videos. It was 2014 or 16. It was 14 when they actually said that they developed the first stack sensor, and then it didn't come to a camera until 2017, which was the A9, the first A9. But since then, it hasn't been in any the stacked sensor. At least it hasn't been in any other Sony camera. That technology, well, beside like any of the mirrorless full frame cameras, besides the A912 and then the A1. So there's only really been 3 stacked sensor cameras from that I'm aware of. So Long Rider's saying it's the stack sensor is really on issue. I'm guessing you're talking about stack sensor. It said it's really only an issue if you need to shoot fast shutter speeds and you do a wildlife and sports. So I think he's saying essentially you do not need a stack sensor for like the majority of cameras, and that's why we haven't seen them in any of the other cameras. But I guess the question, so Long Rider, from there, would you suspect that this new technology that they're coming out with, where it's allowing them to, quote unquote, double the light, that stacked sensor, do you see that coming to more cameras than just the high end? Because it's more, I guess, usable for everyday people, or do you see that still being reserved for the top of the top? Because I see it as a way of like saying having the A7, who has, so Leo just said who has already tested the Z9. I'll get right back to you on that. But with the Sony A7S III, um, I can foresee them with the Sony A7S IV being able to bump that resolution up. Maybe they'll be able to get finally 8K in that camera, and yet it would still have excellent low light. Maybe not as good as it would be right now, but who knows where technology is. So Leo said, who has already tested the Z9? I have not. I don't even think Tony Northrup has, from what I can understand from his video. He was saying that he was looking for one and was asking if anybody who had it could loan it out to him, or maybe they would rent it out. So we will see if that actually happens. I don't think he's even done that. Anybody else? Oh my gosh. Sorry, there's like a tornado watch where I'm at, and the wind just picked up like crazy. Sorry, I got distracted. I was like, squirrel. Oh, if you're in the chat and you've not hit the like button, that would very much help to throw it out to other people. So if you can hit the like button, I'd really appreciate it. It'd be awesome if you like it. If you don't, then you can hit the dislike button, but nobody's gonna see it. So YouTube's doing their own thing. It's like it's protecting my fragile ego. Okay, so Long Rider said, I think the stacked sensors are still expensive. As the cost comes down, they will become more mainstream, and mechanical shutter cameras will be cheaper and easier to make than a DSLR or a mechanical shutter camera. Yeah. So basically, you're saying that when they start removing the mechanical shutter, which eventually, I mean, Z9 has already started that, and I'm assuming, I mean, the A1 is meant to be shot with electronic shutter. I'm thinking the A9 Mark III, it's not going to have a shutter. So you're saying that it's going to start the cost of cutting down the electronic shutter is, or basically cutting down the mechanical shutter is going to save on that side, and maybe more cameras will start to get stacked sensors. I mean, that's interesting idea of a trade-off. But I guess my biggest then still question is, well, okay. Longer said electronics just easier to make than a mechanical device. Well, yeah, you're definitely going to have with a electronic device. A lot of times your issues are going to be within the firmware and the software. Um, yeah, in mass production, yeah, for sure. Because so he said, Long Rider. I'm not sure who's all can see the chat and not see the chat. Long Rider is saying in electronic shutter, basically the mechanical device is going to be harder to make in mass production. You're definitely going to have more issues as far as you're going to have more lost products, because with mechanical shutters or anything that's very like a camera that has to be very precise in its calculations of everything and how fast stuff snaps, like the mechanical shutter snapping back and forth, you're going to have issues where you're going to lose a lot of different cameras in production. You're going to ship out cameras that break easy, and you might have to replace people's cameras. So there's definitely going to be a lot of that when you have anything that's more mechanical in there. That is a mess up. Whereas if it's electronic, most of the time your mess ups are going to be in your firmware. I mean, not to say that electronic things still have, functionable like wires and stuff, but it's a little bit different. So I tend to agree on that. I just wonder if it's going to cut down enough to bring stacked sensors to the masses. I mean, I think it's possible, but I just wonder about that. Especially like you're saying, since we don't really need stacked sensors in 99%, or at least 99% of photographers don't even really need stack sensors. You really only have that top 1% of like high end sports and wildlife photographers that would need it. Longer, I said, I think that's why Nikon can make the Z9 cheaper, no mechanical shutter. I think Nikon made the Z9 cheaper because Nikon needed to make the Z9 cheaper. I think that they needed to make a big splash, and I think that they needed to bring people over to that Z mount and make it very enticing for their DSLR shooters to come over, because in the end they're going to make the most money off the glass anyways. So I think that they knew that they had a big DSLR base, I think that they just wanted to make it even more enticing, or as enticing as they could. And I don't know how much money they're actually going to be making off the actual body of the camera. I think that they're just saying, hey, let's make the best camera we can, make it for as affordably as we can, and bring as many people over to the Z mount and get people talking about the Z mount as we can. So you may be right that they save some money with no mechanical shutter, but I don't know if that's the primary reason that it's at $5,500. Because I think they could have easily justified with the specs bringing it for $6,500 either way. But I think it's just the idea that, oh, I got my baby 8-month-old. He's waking up, so he's going to be crying in the background. At least that's my take with Nikon and why they did what they did. So I mean, I think they could be taking a loss or barely breaking even on their camera. I think they just needed that shot in the arm to say, hey, we're here and we're really taking mirrorless serious, and we're still innovating, or at least even if they let other companies do the initial innovation, and they don't just necessarily innovate, but they perfect the innovations. I think that is a very smart winning strategy for Nikon personally. That's really what Apple has done for a lot of years with their iPhones. So Leo's saying, what are the top 5 lenses we can look forward to in 2022? I'm trying to think, what are the top 5 lenses or like what lenses are coming out in 2022. And again, that's gonna be very dependent on your camera body. Are you talking about Z lenses? Because I'm thinking, Leo, you're a Nikon shooter, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I think the Z lineup. Let's see if I can find it. How about that? I'll stop talking really quick, or we can talk amongst ourselves. But let's see if I can find this setup here. I have Nikon rumors right here. So let's go over here. Oh, see, I was kind of prepared. I think if I can find their roadmap, we can kind of go over and see what's missing. And I think they had their roadmap. I believe Nikon themselves released their roadmap. Let me just Google it maybe. Nikon Z mount roadmap. Lens. There we go. Hey. I can't see that, can y'all? Okay. All right, so can everybody see this pretty good, or no? Yay or nay? Is this super old, or is this fairly up to date here? Okay, so you have people saying the Nikon Z mount 200 to 600 millimeter, and maybe the 800 5.6. Nikon 800 6.3 looks really good. So we never have enough reach. That's what she said. Sorry. I'm a very inappropriate person. Ooh, that's a good question. So, someone, I don't want to mess up people's names. Uh, Aravind? Aravind? Okay, I'm sorry if I'm very much butchering your name. It says, do you really think the R5C will have an EVF? Okay, Nikon Rumors has the new one. Let me go look up and check it. I'm going to go back over to the lenses here. What do you guys think? Do y'all think that the R5C will have the EVF? That is an interesting question, and I've been wondering about that myself. I'll kind of give my opinion here in a second. Let's see. I think I can just search their site. I should be able to. Dude, Nikon Rumors has the craziest amount of ads. There's usually like a little search bar here that I can go and, or at least all the other companies have. Oh, search Nikon Rumors. Okay, Z mount lenses. Let's see what we got here. That is not what I was wanting. Okay, so obviously it's what to be next most rumored. No problem, Matt. At Canon Rumors, they have mentioned it has the optional EVF with additional mounts. Okay, so was this just recently added? So I have not seen that rumor. I don't see it on Canon Rumors right now. So, ooh, sorry, I almost banned you on accident. Yeah, I'm not seeing that over here right now. I have not heard that. I know that they're going to have that digital hot shoe. And I would hope that they don't use the digital hot shoe. You want to bring them over here for a second? Sorry, this is so sporadic of a live stream, but it's live stream, right? It's supposed to have live stream. Can we see? Get baby points here. This is Ronan. This is my son Ronan. So obviously, this is just somebody else's baby. All right, so I'm still trying to find these lenses. Say hello, hello. He looks gigantic, but he's only 8.5 months, so he still can't talk. All right, let's see here. So this is the old lens roadmap. Let's see if I can find it down here. The Nikon USA lens roadmap. Would that be okay? Here we go. Maybe this will be it. Okay. Is this the new one, guys? If anybody's the Nikon wanting to know about the Nikon lenses, is this the new roadmap right here? Any confirmations? Yeah, so this is December 11th, 2021. So it definitely should be fairly new. So this is apparently a fairly new one. Can we all see this? It looks like it's cutting it off on my screen some. Yeah, I'm gonna get a copyright strike if you put this music on here. No, okay, so R5C may be like a traditional cine cameras. Okay, so Long Rider's answering the mounting point on the EVF for a top handle that won't interfere with the hot shoe. No, it's added before on the specs, but I'm confused. With such mounting points, will there be a major change on the body? He looks like you, Leo. Thank you. Okay, this is it. So this is the new roadmap here. So it's at least on the screen here. We can go over that in just a second. So let me talk about the R5C. I think originally people thought that the R5C, the body wasn't going to be extremely different. And if you look at the way they did it a long time ago, they had a C version. I think it was the 5D. I think they had a C version of that. I think it was like back in 2006 or something like that, or was it 2013? Yeah, it's probably 2013. They had like a C cinema version of that, and they didn't really change much up. It was more expensive, and it had better video features, but it wasn't changed dramatically with the body. But I do think that with the FX3 being a little more modern and them having to add the fan in order to cut down on the heat, that they may take the opportunity to change the body up more substantially than what we initially thought. So I can definitely see them changing the body up. I would hope that they still have an EVF, but maybe it's just going to be like an added thing later, like you said. I like the idea of having an EVF. I like having an EVF for my cameras, but I don't think it would matter as much on the R5C as it would on the Sony A7S III, because the back of this, or the FX3, because the screen on the back of the FX3 is terrible, and so I think that is part of the issue, is the terrible screen, whereas the Canon screens on the back, the LCD, they're they're pretty good. So I mean, of course, I would love to have the EVF for the photo specs of photo side of the R5C. But as far as when it comes to just the usability in video, I don't really think it matters as much. With the Sony A7S III, I feel like I really like the EVF, because if it's bright, or if I need to like get better composition, I use that EVF a lot. Okay. Does anybody else like disagree? Have any thoughts on what I just said there? Or yeah. So what do y'all think? Do you think that this will the what do y'all think about the R5C body? Do you think it's going to be more FX3, a lot of changes that they're going to make to it, or do you think it's going to be fairly close to the same body style, but just adding that fan and a few different extra features like that? I'm kind of in the middle. Okay. Well, you're welcome. I don't know if I helped much, but we don't have long to wait, according to Canon rumors, who confirmed it, saying that it's going to be here. It's going to be here at mid January. So I mean, mid January is a few weeks away, which is terrifying to think about. But yeah, so it looks like we won't have long to wait to see if that's going to be the case. But I will say, if anybody like wants to get the R5C, I mean, try to get and you like need it soon, try to get everything lined up, ready to go. Have your card ready to go on your computer or whatever it's going to be. And because we're going to have to jump in and get that thing if we're going to get it. Okay, so uh, bass angle, or is it base angle or bass angle? Because they're both spelled the same. Um. Oh. Okay. So he said, you mentioned heat. Has everyone seen the DP Review's latest video? It's a joke about which camera will survive. Ooh, I have not seen that. I have not seen that. What is their premise? I don't think I can't put it on here exactly. Let's see here. Let's see. DP reviews. I can put it here on. So I mean, obviously we want to check them out. Okay, so which camera will survive? The Sony A1, Nikon Z9, Canon R3. All of them, all of the above will survive. Uh, I sounds like they're taking my angle, like pitting cameras up against each other to upset people in some ways. Okay, so bass, like fit the fish. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so I wasn't sure. Bass like the fish. Three flagships fall out of an airplane. Which will survive? So is it like literally like a joke, like an actual parody joke, or were you saying like it's a joke of a video? Because that's actually really funny if they're dropping them out of the airplane and seeing which will live. It sucks though because like nobody can get their hands on a Z9 if they're like literally throwing it out of an airplane. That'd be crazy. Leo says he thinks that that's a hot take, Leo. He says that he thinks that the R5C will definitely have 8K 60. Okay. Okay. Bass Angular is saying that it's a parody. Okay, I'm totally digging that. Okay, I'd love to. I want to check that out. Everybody who hasn't seen that, if y'all are interested in it, he's saying that they have a really good parody video on DP reviews. Uh, they use Canon for heat warmers to say. What are you doing? Yeah. They use Canon for heat to stay warm. Oh, that's funny, dude. That's hilarious. So like they fall out of a camera. Well, that's I want to watch this now. You really, that's really good. Uh, so Leo thinks that the R5C will have 8K 60. Don't know if I agree, Leo. Um, it's not that you may or may not be right. I'm not saying you're not. I just think that I think it's kind of hard to say one way or the other if it will have that 8. To me, I feel like they would have to change the chip to actually get the 8K 60 cuz to my knowledge the 8K 60 isn't going to be, it's not held back from the heat to add 8K 60. I would assume that they would need a faster processor unless there was just so much overhead on their processor that it would allow them to add 8K 60. I just personally don't think that's the case. I think it was the heat, or I don't think it was the heat that didn't allow the 8K 60. I think it was the processing speed. So if they brought 8K 60 to the R5C, I think that they would have to change the processor, but I could be wrong. I don't know. He's saying I wish the R5C Aravind is saying, I'm probably mispronouncing your name. I wish the R5C just fixes overheating issue and still we can use it as the R5 with the same price point because nobody cares about 8K. Long Rider says the R5C is going to be at least $6,000. Come on, Long Rider. Are you joking? I do not think. Oh my gosh, that's mean. Don't say that. That hurts my feelings, and I probably can't get it anyways. Hence, I have a baby. I can't afford cameras right now. I got what I got before he was born, and I'm stuck with it. Oh my gosh, $6,000. Yeah, I I don't know as far as the overheating and stuff go. Like obviously they say it's gonna have, um, ugh, golly, uh, so yeah, you're talking about the C70. So Long Rider's saying that the C70 is lying with 5K with less specs. Yes, I'm thinking you're talking about the C70. Yeah, but I do wonder where this falls in with the C70. But with the C70, there is some differences. You do have a lot of different formats that aren't supported with the R5C. It is also almost 2 years old at this point. You have the dual gain sensor on the C70, so you're going to get a better dynamic range out of the C70 overall. You also have, the big screen. You have a lot of the different components and hookups that you get with the cinema camera that you're not going to get with the R5C. And then even though you can add the XLR to with the digital hot shoe, you would still have to add that. So I mean, I agree that he says okay. So they're saying yeah, the R5, the C70 is there. They can't cannibalize it at $5,500. I mean, I could be completely wrong. I've been completely wrong different times. I don't know how big of a seller this C70 really was. I mean, are they really protecting it at this point by because the R5C will be very, very Canon has dynamic range? Question mark. Ah, that's cold. Canon C70 does have good dynamic range. From what I've seen, I've never used it. I mean, I haven't used a lot of these cameras that I talk about, but I mean, what can I do? I wouldn't have a channel if I just talked about the cameras that I have. A lot of people are like, you can't say that one thing's better than another because you never used it. And I usually give that disclaimer out. It's not like it's a secret. But yeah, from what I've seen, the Canon C70 has good dynamic range with the dual gain sensor. Uh, as good as Sony, I'm not sure. Speaking of dynamic range and getting people to hot take, so the Camera Wars video, I was writing a Camera Wars video before I decided let's just do a live stream because it was New Year's and there wasn't really much camera news. But did y'all catch the take that they, or at least according to Sony Alpha Rumors, they reported it, but it's like somebody did the test saying that the A1 has one stop better of dynamic range compared to the Z9, and they were saying it's like a world of difference in that particular style of camera. Has anybody heard that, or what do y'all think about it? Do you think it's just a mess up on the test, or do you think that that's legitimate? Because I mean, more people have to test, of course. I'd heard in the past that Nikon tends to have really great dynamic range and that their files are excellent to work with. So I was a little bit surprised. But if this is a Nikon developed sensor and they're not borrowing from Sony anymore, then that's possibly a reason why its dynamic range is down. What do y'all think? Any hot takes on that? Anybody here who is here and haven't hit that like button, do that and it'll help bring it out to other people. So Bass Angular, I think I'm saying that right. Uh-oh.